Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Dreyer. I hope all of you are well. I made this presentation because I want to go over some of the common errors that I saw in your papers. So let's get started. Mistake 1, missing in-text citations. In this paper, every paragraph except the conclusion needs in-text citations. Even your introductory paragraph in this paper, because in the intro, you discuss the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and you have to explain to the reader where you got that information. You have to have a citation. Mistake number 2, writing in-text citations incorrectly. An in-text citation consists of the author's last name and the page number. If there's no author, then you use the title. If it's a long title, you shorten it, and the page number. If there's no page number, you just note the author's last name, or if no author, the title. Here are some examples of in-text citations I've seen that are wrong. So this first one has an encyclopedia as its reference. No, an encyclopedia would never ever be used as a citation. Going back to the slide before, it's either the author's last name, if there's no author, the title of the article. I've seen web addresses, like this one here. No, wrong. It's author's last name, if no author, the title. Now, sometimes I will see an article in quotation marks, and I go to the works cited page, and there's an author. So if there's an author, you use the author. Okay, moving on. Mistake number 3, punctuating in-text citations incorrectly. So when you are writing your citation, you notice how the quotation mark ends here. There's no period here at all. The period goes here. Okay, so notice where the period is and where the period is not. Mistake number 4, the citations are not linked correctly to the works cited page. So if you have OSTI as an in-text citation, let's say OSTI would be an author's name, then there should be an entry on the works cited page that begins with OSTI. I'll scroll down, look at it, your sources alphabetically, and I look for OSTI. Likewise, if you have OSTI on your works cited page, if that's the beginning of one of your sources listed on the works cited page, you need to have OSTI somewhere in your paper. Mistake number 5, quoting information that shouldn't be quoted. You really need to limit your use of direct quotations. I saw a lot of quoting. So let me give you an example. It's a well-known fact that, quote, the chess club members get together every other Thursday, end quote. That does not need to be in quotations. It's really not that significant. You really save your quotation marks for those quotes that have a lot of meaning in them, okay? You just paraphrase it. It is a well-known fact that the chess club meets on alternate Thursdays, okay? And when you paraphrase, you still have to use an in-text citation because the sentence may be your own words, but they are not your ideas. So, paraphrase, you need to cite it. Okay, mistake number 6, not embedding quotations. A lot of times on your paper, you might have seen no standalone quotes or embed. Your quotation needs to be embedded into your own words. Now let's look at a sentence that you should not have in your paper. Notice the entire sentence is a quotation. There are no words prior to the sentence and prior to the quotation marks or after. Okay, that's wrong. You should never have a standalone quote. That's a standalone quote. To fix, you embed just the important part of the quotation. So you use your own words. And look what I did here. On Tuesday, the Union Township School District implemented a, quote, distance learning program, end quote, for K-12. Okay? I took the important part of the sentence and quoted that. Mistake number 7, writing contractions. In formal writing, you usually do not use contractions, so always spell them out. Unless, of course, the contraction is in a direct quotation. Mistake number 8, losing focus. Okay, a lot of your papers sounded more like biographies than a paper that is trying to convince the reader or explain to the reader that a certain person deserves the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Okay? This is just a 4-paragraph paper. Your first is your intro. That's where you use the funnel method to lead to your thesis statement. The second paragraph is background. When the person was born, where they grew up, where they went to school, etc. The third paragraph is some of their accomplishments. And then your conclusion. When you have a paper that has a super long background or biography, I'm going to say again, of the person, you really lose sight of what the paper is about, okay? Your paper is about the Presidential Medal of Freedom and that this person deserves it. If I'm reading all these facts about the person that you chose and I'm reading, oh, they did this, they did that, they did the other thing, I really lost the focus of the paper. Now it's more like a biography. It's not a biography that you're writing. So if you wrote a lot of information about your person, you really need to work on condensing it. Okay? 4 paragraphs, people. That's it. Mistake number 9, using personal pronouns. Avoid first-person pronouns such as I, me, you, your, our, my. So I've given you some examples here of incorrect sentences and corrections. So many people in our state have COVID-19. You just fix it. Many people in New Jersey have COVID-19, and so on. Mistake 10, not using the funnel method for your introduction as directed by me. So there is a separate Google Slides presentation that I posted to help you with that. So look for that. Mistake number 11, writing a conclusion that sounds like an introductory paragraph. Yeah, I don't really get why that happens, but I see it a lot. So, for example, let's say this first paragraph features the following sentence. Cory Booker deserves to have an exhibit at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Okay? That's a fine thesis statement. I expect the paper to be about some of his accomplishments. Okay. When I get to the end, it should not be a repeat of the first paragraph. In conclusion, Cory Booker deserves to have blah, 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 blah. That's wrong. You need to restate your thesis, remind the reader what your thesis is, but you have to do it in a new way. So here we go. Again, we have this paragraph that Cory Booker deserves to have an exhibit, et cetera, et cetera. So now my last paragraph looks like something like this. Indeed, Booker's many achievements as a mayor and now a senator prove he deserves to have an exhibit at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. All right, you have to, I call it flipping your thesis, but you have to present your thesis in a new way. And it should be the first sentence in the conclusion. When you use the funnel method, the thesis statement is the last sentence in the first paragraph, and the first sentence in the conclusion, but it needs to be written a different way. Mistake 12, not citing the works cited properly, not formatting the works cited properly. Entries are double spaced. There is no extra space between the entries. There are no hyperlinks. I saw a lot of hyperlinks. Using a hanging indent for entries. You need to have a hanging indent. If you use Noodle Tools, it's not a problem. Noodle Tools formats it correctly. Everything should be alphabetized. And you really should use Noodle Tools because it will produce, once you finish your sources, it will print everything out in order, beautifully spaced, and so forth. Plagiarism, mistake 13. So be careful with plagiarism, and this paper will be filtered through our unit check program that the school has. So it checks for plagiarism. So, learn to paraphrase. One way to avoid it is to, you have to use your own words, right? So look at a thesaurus, find synonyms. Change the sentence order. Remember, though, you must include an in-text citation when you use direct quotations or you paraphrase information. Okay, and again, I just remind you, use direct quotes sparingly. Okay, here we come to the end. It's important that you edit and proofread your paper. Bottom line, a lot of times it looks like you did not carefully look at your paper. You should be beyond that point now. And that's why I want you all to spend the weekend looking over your paper, taking in consideration all of the aspects of this presentation, areas that you fall short on, and fix your paper. And then just submit it at any point on Monday. Okay? Just want to tell you I miss you all, and I hope you're staying safe. And hopefully this whole thing will end before the school year ends. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm trying to turn it off. I'm learning technology, everybody. I am learning technology. And